Recording in progress.
It really is. Welcome everyone. It's a very kind of chill time between Christmas and New Year's. We received a card from a community member, Stephen, saying, Merry Thisness and Happy New Now. Very Buddhist. And it is the season of giving and receiving in this culture. And so I wish to speak this morning about something very central in the Buddha's teachings and very, very beautiful, and that is generosity. And the Pali word is dana, which many people may have heard. Dana. It's this idea of giving, offering, sharing, and technical difficulties here. This is the beginning of the Buddhist path, and when the Buddha meets anyone in the suttas, especially lay people, this is what he begins by teaching about: the centrality and real beauty of generosity. In fact, this is often quoted. It's in the Iti-Vuttaka, which means so it was said. And the Iti-Vuttaka is a small book. It's 112 suttas, and it's in the minor, the Khuddaka Nikaya. It's the fifth of the Nikayas that we very often don't mention. And it's actually not published as a collection, this minor collection. It's comprised of many, many books of the Buddha's teachings that are quite well known, actually, like the Metta Sutta, and the Udana, the Dhammapada. These are all from the Khuddaka Nikaya, this fifth collection. And the Iti-Vuttaka is quite special, actually, because it was remembered. Many of the suttas were remembered by Ananda, the attendant of the Buddha. But the Iti-Vuttaka was actually remembered by a woman. And we have these suttas because of this woman. She was a servant of the queen. The queen Samavati, who was the queen of King Udana. And her name was Kujutar, this servant that loved the Buddha and interestingly had much more agency in that culture than the queen herself. She could, because she was a servant and would get sent to the market to purchase food, etc., she had the ability to move in the town and go out from the palace. And so the queen would send her, go listen and bring the teachings back. And that's how we have these suttas. So anyway, this is a very, very famous quote of the Buddha from the Iti-Vuttaka, and it's sutta number 26. They're quite short, these suttas, and they all start with Iti-Vuttaka, like this was said by the Buddha. This is what I heard. That's how she always starts every single one of these 112 discourses, to make it clear that this is what she heard directly from the Buddha. Mendicants, if sentient beings only knew, as I do, this is the Buddha speaking, the fruit of giving and sharing, they would not eat without first giving. And the stain of stinginess, this is a phrase that is in the suttas over and over and over. And the stain of stinginess would not occupy their minds. They would not eat without sharing even their last mouthful, their last morsel, so long as there was someone to receive it. It's because sentient beings do not know, as I do, the fruit of giving and sharing, that they eat without first giving, and the stain of stinginess occupies their mind. So powerful what the Buddha is saying, that if we only really got it, how beautiful and how powerful generosity is. We would be so much more bought in. We'd be so much more committed to it. So hopefully through this talk and, our continued spiritual practice, this understanding will grow and deepen. There are 3 kinds of dana that the Buddha speaks about. And the first one is what I think often we think of when we think of generosity. It's this idea of giving of what we have, giving material things, giving our talents and our knowledge, supporting other people, like tangibly giving, which is what we often think of. I have always thought of when I think of generosity. And there are 2 other kinds of generosity that the Buddha speaks about. And the second one is the gift of fearlessness. And this is pointing to our morality. When we begin to put emphasis on our own ethics and think about our own integrity and begin to hold it as a value, like think of situations in our lives through that lens. Like, what's the moral thing to do? Like, what's the ethical thing to do? We become reliable, and we become more consistent, and we become someone who gives the gift of fearlessness to all those around us. They don't need to fear that we're going to act out on some jealousy, that we're going to be small-minded, that we're going to be vengeful, that we're going to be reactive and not take accountability for it. That we become responsible. We become responsible in the relational field, and someone that is dependable. This is a second kind of dana that we are giving. And it's very beautiful to understand that dimension of our morality, that there's a generosity component to me really taking responsibility for my own mood, my own speech, my own way of moving in the world, and that I'm accountable. This is dana. This is a generosity that we're giving to people that we live with, people that we work with, members of our family. And the third kind is also something that I want to encourage us all in, and the Buddha puts it as paramount, and that is the gift of Dhamma, capital D, like the gift of the Buddha's teachings. And I'll talk about all 3 of these kinds of giving briefly, and hopefully inspire and encourage us that all of us, no matter where we're at in our Dhamma practice, can partake in all 3 of these forms of dana that the Buddha talks about. So I began with this powerful quote that if only we got it the way that the Buddha knows it is, we would be so much more committed to a life of generosity. And going along with that, the Buddha talks about there's lots and lots of instructions in the suttas about generosity. It's a very, very important part of the path, and the instructions are very instructive. And the first is just the quality of heart. That generosity, that's what it is. It's a quality of heart. It's very, very, very wholesome mind state. Of course, because when we're being generous, it can be, melting down this delusion of separateness that we live in, and this delusion of me and you. It's like it can become like a river, and you know what rivers do? They wear down the bedrock that they're on. And it's also counters are probably one of our biggest hindrances, which is wanting, greed. It's the opposite. It's this going the other direction. So this beautiful quality of heart. I'm going to say lots of quotes because the Buddha does. He talks so much about this. So this is from the Numerical Discourses. It's in the Book of Threes, and it's Sutta number 57. And just again, this far-reaching beauty of this quality of heart, and that it is a quality of heart. Doesn't really matter what we're giving. It's really the quality of our heart as we're giving. And to me, this teaching that the Buddha gives to Vacha, I think he's a lay person. Vacha, this is what I say. You even make merit, like there's even a beauty and a very positive rippling out. You even make merit by tipping out dishwashing water in a cesspool or a sump with living creatures in it, thinking, may any creatures here be nourished. How much more when we give, nourishment and food to human beings. But just to underscore, even if it's a very, very small thing, like dishwashing water, if we're realizing, this again is this interplay of this being, this mind stream with what's out there, and everything that in other words, we can be doing this as we're breathing. May this carbon dioxide nourish the trees. Like this is how interconnected we are, and how much every small act in our lives can have this backdrop of generosity. It's a very beautiful way to orient our day, orient our life. Very, very, very uplifting. And the Buddha knows this and is trying to get through to us, trying to teach us this. There's another sutta talking about this beauty, and I haven't brought it with me. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is still in the Numerical Discourses, and the Book of Sixes. It's Sutta number 37, where the Buddha talks about before, during, and after we're giving, that there's the potential for this beauty. There's the potential for this uplift of our mind state, uplift of our heart. And in this sutta he says, it's when a donor is glad before giving, the mind is bright and clear while giving, and they're delighted, uplifted after giving. So the invitation is there from the Buddha. Like when I get an idea, like, oh, that'd be really great to give whatever, these socks, or give, this new information that I learned, whatever. When the idea arises, like, oh, it'd be really sweet, or this is someone I could share this with. This is someone that would benefit. Just even that, just the planning of it, just the idea of it can be a source of joy, a source of uplift. And then as we're giving, and we've all had this experience, we just come through Christmas. I mean, I'm sure everyone can remember, getting like what you felt was like a really meaningful gift for someone, or something very, very special. Like they're gonna love this. It's such a cool feeling. Oh, they're gonna love this. And sometimes, sadly, there's that other, and they're gonna love me, but don't worry about that. Put the emphasis on the act of giving. We've all had that experience. And then when we give that gift, I remember when I was in high school, I'm struggling like many ways, and sort of my refuge in high school was woodworking. I would spend all day in the wood shop, and bless my woodworking teacher's heart, Mr. Carter, he'd wander over, usually about 2 in the afternoon. Wouldn't it be good if you go to one class today? And I'm going, okay. I go to my last class. But anyway, spent a lot of time in wood shop through high school. And when I think I was in grade 12, I made this set of nesting tables for my parents. And it took me the whole fall to do, and all day. I had turned the legs on a lathe, and I had even had a bulb in the leg that was wider than the diameter of the wood of the leg. So I'd had to glue wood on to each leg, and there were 12 legs. I made 17, but only 12 turned out. Anyway, I was beyond excited to give this gift to my mom and dad on that Christmas morning. That's a long, 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 long time ago, and I can remember where I was standing. I can remember, everything. And in fact, thankfully, my son still has that set of tables, which is nice. It's nice it's still in the family. With everything, being a nun, we still have those tables. Anyway, we've all had that feeling. And the Buddha is saying this is incredibly wholesome to focus in on, and tap into that joy. It can even go to excitement, So like if you've ever planned a surprise party for someone, or done something really like it took a lot. It took a lot to work this thing out. This is a very beautiful thing. This quality of heart. And along the lines of this quality of heart, there's a very interesting sutta still in the numerical discourses in the book of Sevens, and it's Sutta 52, and it's 7. So the Buddha's talking about there's these 7 different motivations for giving, and each one gets more and more pure, more and more beautiful. They're all good. And the pinnacle, the 7th, the 6th actually is what I was just talking about. To tap into the fact that when I'm giving, I'm not thinking about myself so much. My focus is very much on relinquishment, and a releasing, and an outflow. And that this is a source for joy and uplift. It's not the stain of miserliness. It's not the stain of stinginess. It's not self-centered. This is why giving is the beginning of the path and so beautiful. And so the sixth, which is like a very beautiful reason to be giving, is that this feels really good. That's the sixth. The seventh is taking it one step farther and really understanding more where I started when the Buddha says, if we understood as he did. It's that we understand how essential generosity is in life and in the Dhamma, in nature, it's the fabric. It can be the fabric of our lives. So the seventh is to understand that and to realize when I give, I am increasing the beauty in my own mind and heart. Again, this idea that spiritual principles, our spiritual life trumps everything. It's the pinnacle. And so the more we understand generosity, the more we understand this is a very, very beautiful, wholesome state of mind, and it's very selfless, then to bring that in when we're giving. I'm doing the best thing for myself. I'm beautifying my own mind. This is the highest motivation in giving. I think it's Gandhi says the fragrance remains in the hand that gives the rose. The fragrance remains in the hand that gives the rose. Gandhi, he understood so much. A great, great being. And so this whole idea of giving, we can understanding generosity from the Buddhist perspective, from a spiritual perspective, we can start to be more and more creative with our giving and understand that there's just so many ways to give. And this whole idea of self and other can be melting away. And that this idea of giving doesn't always need to be going out. There's ways that we can be giving that are very wise and very in line with the Buddha's teachings to ourselves. Giving ourselves permission, giving ourselves forgiveness, giving ourselves patience, giving ourselves the space to prioritize our meditation practice. All these can be reframed in the way of generosity and of giving. And in fact, with all of the Buddha's teachings, this principle of middle way, this principle of balance is in there. And so I don't want to talk about just give, like out. That's not what the Buddha is saying. Giving needs to be balanced, and it needs to be with wisdom. And there's a sutta still in the numerical discourses, Anguttara 5, in the Book of Five, Sutta 148, where the Buddha is talking about 5 principles of giving. And the last one is that we make sure that when we give a gift, it's without injuring ourselves or the other. This idea of non-harm. So we don't want to overgive. You don't want to give more than you can afford. You don't want to give more than you have in terms of your energy, in terms of your time, etc., etc. The Dhammapada, verse 166 says, don't give up your own welfare, for the sake of others' welfare, however great. Like this is now gone too far. It's overboard. So if you're a caregiver of a partner that has Parkinson's, or a caregiver of your a parent that has dementia, you need to make sure that you're resourced enough. Make sure that you're taking care of the caregiver. It will fall apart, and it will not be a good outcome if you don't take these principles in terms of our giving on board that the Buddha has given us. Don't give up your own welfare for the sake of others' welfare, however great. It goes on, clearly know your own welfare and be intent on the highest good. Again, this permission that my spiritual life, my meditation life, needs to be central, and that's my North Star. And I need to orient my other priorities, my work, my family, my fitness, etc., around this. Don't give up your own welfare for the sake of others' welfare, however great, because it won't work. It doesn't work. So this second kind of giving, the gift of fearlessness, again, I really sort of fleshed that out already. The idea that when I am sitting on the cushion, when I am cultivating more wholesome mind states, this is generosity. This is giving the gift of fearlessness to those people that I live with, those people that I interact with, the people that I work with. So just understanding every bit of understanding and every bit of energy I put towards cultivating wholesome mind states is an act of selflessness and an act of generosity. It's not a selfish activity. Absolutely the contrary. It's our job. It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to take very, very good care of our own hearts, minds, and bodies. And this is an act of generosity to the world. And we've all experienced that. We all get to go on YouTube and listen to talks of people that have done that. They didn't give up their own welfare for the sake of other people's welfare. They've cultivated their own minds of hearts, and we now benefit incredibly. And now this third act of dana, third avenue of dana, Dhamma dana, giving the Buddha's teachings. And it really does segue with the second, which is this gift of fearlessness and cultivating wholesome mind states. What we're doing when we're cultivating wholesome mind states is we're sharpening our own wisdom. And then this is something that we have to give to people that we work with, people that we live with. And it doesn't always need to be, well, the Buddha said this, the Buddha said that. Not at all. But just as you are living a life that is more beautiful, and that you have moods that are more even, and all of these things, then you become a go-to. You become a resource for others. And just to encourage you that you can do that. You can share the things that you are learning. And it doesn't need to be the Buddha, the Buddha, the Buddha. You can just be like, oh, I'm realizing, when I turn my mind, to trying to see things from more than one perspective, it calms me down, and it helps me to be more understanding. And then I don't get so agitated. And we can just share personally the ways that the Buddha's teachings is benefiting us. And this is the highest dana, Dhamma dana. And the Buddha does say it. He says it in the middle length discourses, the Maha Gopalaka Sutta, the greater discourse of the cowherd, that there's 11 qualities that a cowherd needs to have to be able to take care of the cows. And this is one of them, that they, then of course, you don't share Dhamma with a cow. I didn't do that very clearly. Sorry. And then it's a metaphor. And then he goes on to talk about 11 qualities that a spiritual practitioner wants to be cultivating in order to be of benefit to others. And one of them is that they're ready and willing and understanding the importance of sharing what they've learned so far. This is what we can share. What has worked for us. And it's beautiful, and you can do it incredibly, non-patronizing. You're just talking about your own heart, your own life, your own conversations, your own priorities, et cetera, et cetera. The way that you've worked with your own wild mind. This is an incredible benefit to those around you. So I'm going to end with a very beautiful Thich Nhat Hanh quote that is apt and something we can all take to heart, and doesn't necessarily just mean towards others. I think it's also towards ourselves. And he says, perhaps the greatest gift we can offer anyone is the gift of our full attention. And this, again, is a gift that we can also be giving to ourselves. My full attention. What's actually going on for me here in this moment? So I'll end there. I hope people are motivated to hold generosity in a much wider understanding. So if anyone has any comments or questions, they're very, very welcome.